From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White. U.S. President Donald Trump says his threatened tariffs are coming this weekend. Trump says he'll slap both Canada and Mexico with 25% tariffs on Saturday. The president says he'll decide tonight whether those duties will include oil. Trump has linked the tariff threat to border concerns, as well as trade issues between the U.S. and its neighbors. Ottawa has texted a video to the incoming U.S. tariffs chief to show Canada's border improvements. Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc sent the video to provide context to what his office calls an accompanying personal message. It's part of Canada's efforts to try to avoid tariffs. Multiple ministers are in or are traveling to Washington, D.C. to meet with U.S. officials. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration says air traffic control tower staffing was not normal when two aircraft collided mid-air last night in Washington, D.C. All 67 people on board a passenger jet and a military helicopter were killed. U.S. President Donald Trump lashed out at the Biden administration and claimed diversity efforts led to slipping standards, despite having no evidence.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level.
The investigation into the crash has begun, but black boxes from the craft have not yet been recovered. Liberal leadership hopeful Karina Gould is ripping a page out of former Prime Minister Stephen Harper's playbook, and another from the NDP leader. Gould wants to increase the corporate tax rate from 15% to 17% for businesses that make more than $500 million a year in profits. She also says she would bring some relief with a one-year reduction to the GST by 1 point to 4%. Health Minister Mark Holland says he's hoping to sign pharmacare deals with the provinces and territories very, very soon. He says the NDP should give the Liberal government more time to get things done.
I would put it back to Jagmeet Singh. Like, why are you in such a rush for an election? If pharmacare is the priority you say it is, then why don't you wait till October so that we can get the business of the nation done?
Canada's health ministers have been meeting in Halifax for the last 2 days. Those pharmacare deals would enact the first phase of the program, covering the cost of birth control and diabetes medications.
It is the evening of the day.
And British pop star Marianne Faithfull has died at the age of 78. She inspired and helped write some of the Rolling Stones' greatest songs and endured as a torch singer. She was also a survivor of the drug-infused lifestyle she once embodied. Her music promotion company says Faithfull passed away today in London, surrounded by family. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Pittsburgh's Sidney Crosby will serve as Canadian captain at the Four Nations Face-Off tournament next month. Toronto's Austin Matthews will wear the C for the United States. The tournament will be played in Montreal and Boston. 5 Canadian NHL teams are in action tonight. Montreal welcomes Minnesota. Ottawa is home to Washington. Calgary entertains Anaheim, while Edmonton is home to Detroit, and Winnipeg visits Boston. In the PWHL, Toronto visits Montreal. U.S. figure skating says it is devastated after that mid-air crash in Washington killed several skaters who were returning from a national meet. The organization says several athletes and coaches on the flight had attended a camp last week in Wichita, Kansas. The Grand Slam of curling will head south of the border for the first time next season. No word yet which U.S. city will host one of the circuit's 5 competitions. The full 2025-26 Grand Slam schedule is expected to be released in the coming weeks. From the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.